Okay, thanks.
Apparently, we have learned that almost 1 in 2 young men are not approaching women. Well, that begs the question of...
No, we don't, actually. We don't know that's true because we know that the data set is horse shit. Say it with me. Horse shit. There you go.
Why? Why is that? And if you're someone from the red pill community or who has inclinations toward that type of thinking...
You mean the red pill community that's been talking about this shit for, I don't know, going on 22 years now, and you don't want to talk to anybody who would call you on your bullshit, Lauren?
Your response is probably going to be, well, because it just doesn't make sense for a man to try that. There are all these legal ramifications for things like divorce, or heck, even things like Me Too, where, a rape allegation could ruin someone's life.
No, it's more than that. It's actually the criminalization of approaching women in the first place. Go look up the laws in the UK, where if you even hold the stare at if you look at a woman for a beat longer, they're going to take your ass. That's a felony. They'll take your ass to jail. Oh, he looked at me. Officer, he looked at me a split second longer than I felt comfortable. Take him to jail. Literally. If you on the street, if you hold a woman's gaze for a beat longer and you give her the ick, it's not just Me Too. We have systematically criminalized men making approaches. I'm not saying you shouldn't. I think guys still should. I 100% agree. I don't think the data sets are worth a shit. But let's look at some things here, man. Can we look? It's not people want to go back to 2017. They still think it's 2017, right? Oh, it's Me Too. You're going to get a false sexual assault charge on you if you go and you ask women out. Yeah, at work. The possibility exists. Or that's why there's that joke, where the guy who's like, it's like the hot guy comes in there. Hey, looking great, Susan. Oh, you're so cute. And if the fat guy goes in there and says the same thing, she calls HR. That's not just Me Too. That's just the way of the world. When you live in a gynocentric social order and you criminalize men making approaches, and then you complain that men don't make approaches, you'll have to forgive them for not fucking believing you in the first place.
Regardless of how flimsy it is. So yeah, maybe men aren't approaching women anymore because they just don't think it's worth it because society is increasingly anti-male. And don't get me wrong, to this data, reason to not approach someone. Also,
hold on. Scrubbing through this because I don't want to go through the whole day.
I think it's frankly anti-Christian and anti-family attitude.
Oh God. Okay. We gotta play the God card. Hang on.
A huge thank you to Temu for sponsoring. Because it just doesn't make sense for a man to try that. There are all these legal ramifications for things like divorce, or heck, even things like Me Too, where, a rape allegation could ruin someone's life regardless.
It's not just a rape allegation. It's sexual assault, sexual harassment. It can be as something as innocuous as a inappropriate tweet or an inappropriate text. Hey baby, you're looking good today. Let's go. You want to go out tonight? Help. I feel uncomfortable.
Of how flimsy it is. So yeah, maybe men aren't approaching women anymore because they just don't think it's worth it because society is increasingly anti-male.
Or it could be that this right here is how men and women date now. And it's not happy days anymore. And it's not the sock hop, and it's not the high school homecoming dance anymore. Maybe that's it. Maybe the fact is that this, for men and women, is a much better buffer than risking real rejection from a woman who's probably going to look at your Instagram to begin with to see if you're cool enough to hang out with. I don't know how long it's been since you or DatePsych or anybody else, because when I look at DatePsych, I'm like, who's dating this motherfucker? But when you look at this, it's like, are these people actually in the sexual marketplace? Because I'm out in the clubs. I'm talking to the women every day. I'm doing this shit at least every other week in Vegas. I've been doing it for a long time when I was working in wine and spirits. I know how women date. People say, oh, Rollo's out of touch. He doesn't know how we get. No, dude, trust me. I've made it my business to do so for a very long time. I've written books because I've made it my business to do so. A phone number means fuck all. Even a follow on Instagram means nothing. Roosh was right when he predicted that you will have to fuck a woman first before you can have a relationship with her. It will no longer be about getting like a woman's phone number. It used to be back in the day, like in the mid 2000s, like a number close was a metric of success for pickup artists. It's 2023. You could follow a woman on Instagram and she could follow you back. That in no way implies interest. You're just now a new fan. Instagram is funnel marketing for women. But and by the way, that funnel marketing is all about the presumption that there is dating. Is she? Sorry, Ben. Yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I really wish. Like it's not okay. So even if I'm married with children as well. The difference between me and Lauren is I do shows like Access Vegas. I'm out in Vegas. I'm around people all the time. I have got my finger on the pulse of actual human beings that I'm sitting across the table from talking to. Not on here. Not on Instagram. I talk to them live, face to face, living, breathing, actual. Have you ever talked to a real actual girl? That's what she's essentially saying. Yeah, the men don't do that because this generation, the latter half of the millennials and all of Gen Z, are used to the buffer of digital media. That's what you're complaining about. It's not that's just how we do it right now. And the guys who would actually have the cojones to go out and make a live, real approach on women, they have to also be the ones who have to have that buffer against rejection. And a lot of them simply don't have the social skills to deal with that. Be glad that they don't. Be happy that the guys who aren't making those approaches are, because we've criminalized making approaches. The way we do it properly is through digital media.
Don't get me wrong, even though I don't subscribe to the red pill view of the world or consider myself part of that community. Because
there's no red pill view of the world. Okay. Can I correct you now? Facial smoothing girl?
Because I think it's frankly anti-Christian and anti-family at its core.
You know where to find me.
I do agree that society is very gynocentric currently, and men have a...
Well done. Got one term in there. Got the one jingle. Got one little bit of hope for you. Gynocentrism. Thank you. She must be reading something.
A lot to lose if they try to hook up with or even marry the wrong woman. But according to the data, and here we have...
I'm sorry. Maybe you need to go get on the same page as Michael Knowles before you talk about these things, because apparently it doesn't matter if she's the right or the wrong woman, as long as you stick it out in marriage.
Something else that's pretty shocking. No, those reasons do not top the list of why men are not approaching women. You see, here we have another graph that breaks down the data. And while we can see that around...
You know what's funny is I can show you this graph and people will give me shit. Where is it? Roll is full of shit. Where did he get all these? Where did he get all of this stuff? Yeah, screw that guy. Here's a graph, by the way. Oh, here's a great, legit, not legit, legit, not legit. It's bullshit. In fact, at the very least, if you read the actual post that I put this in initially back in 2014, you'll understand where all this comes from. Here, there's nothing. It's just fucking made up bullshit from Twitter.
Around 25% of those who describe themselves as black pill, yes, do not approach women because of a fear of legal consequences.
How many people involved in this? Where was the data generated from? Who was the one who vetted it? Where's the academic rigor? What was the study? Who was funding it? What university system did it go through? You're telling me, Lauren Chin, that this is settled science. I'm telling you, you're full of shit for putting this out. And second of all, Date Psych is full of shit because he's trying to sell this to people like you as settled science. It is not. This is just as legitimate as this graph right here. If that's how it is, I'll be happy to show you where I pull all my data from. Nothing. Zero. In fact, you are guilty of this as well, Lauren, of lack of academic rigor.
The overall population, that number is way, way lower at only around 10%. Instead, we see bigger contributing factors.
According to who? Who were the people? Where was this taken from? Does the experiment look for what it says it's supposed to be looking for? Where did this all come from? You doe-eyed piece of shit.
For both black-pilled and all men include things like not being attracted to anyone, which, okay.
All men versus black-pilled men. Okay, what makes an all man and what qualifies you as a black-pilled man? Identifying yourself as such? You know what? Am I black-pilled or am I all men? Where is it? This is like the worst of all of this. All of this shit. Where is this coming from? Who is doing the studying? Dates. Okay, fine. You can go look the shit up. Please do. And you'll find out it is an anecdotal study that you are selling as settled science. You are contributing to the problem. You are the problem, Lauren.
Okay, that's a pretty good reason to not approach someone. Also, the amorphous other, but then higher up there is a fear of social consequences.
The amorphous other that accounts for 40% of the respondents.
Now, I suppose social consequences for approaching a woman could include things like, being labeled creepy or even a harasser. So, I mean, that's fair enough. That's definitely a realm where we can talk about how the Me Too movement may have been.
The Me Too movement hasn't been a thing since 2018, dear. Oh, we're still afraid of Me Too. When's the last time you saw that hashtag in the media?
Been overzealous in its execution. But still, what's really interesting is that the number one reason for both all men and even black-pilled men for not approaching a woman is fear of rejection. What's crazy?
Oh, you guys are so fearful. If you would just ask us, if you would just tell us you really cared, we would give you a chance. Oh, look, why do you not approach? Oh, these were my, hold on. These were my, this is what I got to choose on the radio buttons for why I didn't approach. So these were the answers I got to choose from. Oh, so fear, emotion of rejection, fear, social consequences, fear of legal consequences, not attracted to anyone. Of course, that's always a given, right? Or other. Do you know how to read this? So the black-pilled guys, they were fearing rejection, whereas all guys, they only were just underneath that. Is anybody else like losing their fucking mind on this bullshit? No sources cited. You guys give me, like, I get so much shit. In fact, I'm done with this. I catch so much grief from people talking about, well, Rolla doesn't cite any sources in his book. But this is believable. This is what hell, what's the, I didn't have the thing called up. How many people are watching that video? How many people think and are going to have conversations about this? By the way, how many other people are going to see this data and try to do a spinoff of this video right here? How many people I think she's at the Blaze, or she at Daily Wire. I think she's the Blaze girl. How many people at the Blaze, how many people at Daily Wire are going to see that? In fact, I'm fairly convinced that there's probably people who are using this shoddy, unvetted data sets as settled fucking science for their content. It is a lie. It is horseshit. It is a corrupt data that you're selling as settled science.